Okay. This was I think our last proper day. Yes. Okay, so we're coming to the climax here. This is day 13, June 13th, Kumamoto and Mount Aso, or Aso. Last full day of being a tourist. Yay. I was very tired by this stage in the trip. Like, I'd been, like, relaxed, but, just, I think mentally just exhausted of being in a different country for so long. It had been 5 years, or more than 5 years since I'd been in a different country last, so it was just interesting. Either way, we caught an early train to Kumamoto, dropped off the bags, and hired a car. Jeez, it really extends, doesn't it? Yes. So that seems to be the main part where the cloud is. Look, a tractor. Then we drove about an hour and a half to Mount Aso, a very active volcano. There were a lot of big, long streets that we went down. We went down a long road for about 20-30 kilometers that went straight from the city all the way out. And I'd like to mention that there was a store called Super Combo, which seemed to be some kind of Bunnings warehouse, outdoorsy kind of store. But I found it interesting because for those who know of the Fast and Furious movie Hobbs and Shaw, in Japan it's called Super Combo. And I just found that really interesting, so, yeah.
In 700 meters, make a slight right turn at Takeko.
It's always when I'm about to stop, isn't it? That's a good thing. So over there, that little grey spot, that's actually for landslides and shit. Yes. The rest of it's all forest. And mountains. And the person in a car. And machines. And Japanese radio. So there were a lot of hills in the area that were actually being concreted. That were putting concrete slabs and all these kind of landslide protection stuff on it, which was really interesting to look at. There was a lot of construction because of it, and we lost our way a few times, and there were a lot of blocked off roads, which was very, very annoying. But it was fun anyway. So is that? Well, that's part of it, so isn't it? Yeah, it's nice. It's a couple of areas there. I stayed awake on the trip, of course, to control the GPS. Made our first stop at a small volcanic crater. because we got a better view up the top at the museum, which we drove to next. Again, through these beautiful forests. I don't know how much footage I took, and like, I just don't want to talk too much. I want to just watch the scenery. It's beautiful. Then we drove up to the Aso Museum and saw the whole mountain range. My cousin Adam actually took a picture of us via satellite camera that was actually at the site. So there's a picture of us on the screen now with us circled. Very, very tiny because it's a very, very wide angle. But yeah, we were there because my camera wasn't proof enough. It was just kind of weird and goofy, so we put that on Facebook for fun. So yeah, drove to the station, which was 1 kilometer from. Well, we went to the museum first. The museum was quite nice to go through. We didn't actually go through too much of it, but I think I bought a keychain. No, I didn't. I didn't buy a keychain. But yeah, we stayed there for a bit. Got the picture that Adam took of us. Then we drove up, which was to a site that was about 1 kilometer away from the actual volcano, to buy, and I bought a keychain there as well. There's a lot of these. There's at Kumamoto. There's it's a black bear. It's a mascot. It's very annoying. It was everywhere. I don't know what it was, why it was there. Obviously, because of a mascot. It's just there the whole time. It's just like I don't get it. They had giant versions of it everywhere. It haunts me to this day. Anyway, yeah. So it turns out the volcano was closed to the public, because of it had gone from stage 1 safety to stage 2, which meant that stage 2 means that no one can go near it, because the fumes were really toxic. But for I guess 1 kilometer distance was fine. So I got some video footage of that, which was interesting. Volcano's closed today, kids, because it's too dangerous. As in, too much poisonous gas, you could die. So, this is the closest we're gonna get, which is a variation of the amount of kilometers away. How far do you think we are away from it? I mean, safe enough of a distance.
About less than 1 kilometer.
Less than 1 kilometer. That's not the volcano. That is just extra looking stuff. That's the volcano. That little dinghy there is kind of a viewpoint. Ah, you can just see the smoke come out of it. What do you think? So it's smoke there is the volcano. That's the way up. That's another part of it. What is it? The hills are alive with the smell of sulfur? Yes. Your local guide for volcanic eruption. Crater 1 is active. Crater Red. So we're there, that red dot there. It says you're here. That's the roadway and road to evacuation, and that's the whole thing. You'd only get to that point there, which is that little building thing. You'll be able to look inside. Okay, arguably this is the closest we're gonna get. Surprisingly not too windy today. Police. So it's all the way up there. We drove back and got a different viewing point, which is quite nice. And Dad and I kind of realized that theoretically it was maybe better that we didn't get to go to the crater. Like, this is the closest we might ever get to an actual active volcano, especially the crater of one. And you got to see the smoke from it. It was just like kind of cool. Like, it was nicer to know that that it could erupt kind of thing than it would be to just be like looking into a giant hole and just being like, it was just nice to see the volcano from a distance instead, and not from too far of a distance, especially because we drove back up to a point just above the museum, which is a whole vantage point where you got to see the whole mountain range. And below us, what we driven past in front of the museum was actually a crater as it was. There was actually two craters, one that had a lake in it. And all these mountains, the keychain I had actually told you what each of the mountains were, and they're all very high up, like 1,000 to 3,000 meters up in the air, like above sea level, whatever it was, per one, with Aso being the highest, I think it was. It might not have been, I can't recall. Either way, that was the actual volcano one, whereas the rest were just big mountains. And then we got good footage of the actual tiny crater down below, which is really cool. So there's a lot of footage of that. So we decided then, because of time restrictions, to see a damaged temple that was in town. We wanted to go to this gorge and this waterfall, but that was like a few hours drive, and we decided that we don't have the time for it, because we had to return the car by like 6 p.m, which is really annoying. Otherwise we would have had to pay extra and whatever, and we just didn't want to have to accommodate that into our bank, so we decided not to do that. So we decided to go to this temple instead in town. We actually had bought ice cream at the museum. It was sesame seed and choc mint in a cup. The idea with the sesame seed one was that it was meant to like look and taste like ash. It wasn't bad. I think individually they worked really well. Together they didn't, until you had one that was like 3/4 mint, 1/4 sesame seed, or 3/4 sesame seed, 1/4 mint. Worked well, but half and half was anyway. But then when we got to the town, we had another ice cream and had a small break and had some loaves and some lunch and whatever. So I had another ice cream there. It was a soft serve, which is really nice. And then we went into the actual we went into the actual temple, which was damaged, I think, maybe in an earthquake. I don't exactly remember what the sign... Actually, I don't think the sign said anything. It just had all these different images showing what it looked like before and after, because the whole thing had just collapsed. And they were trying to reconstruct it based on the images just sketches and stuff that they had of it, which was something that's very common in Japan, where they reconstruct temples and castles based on drawings and all kinds of and images and whatnot that they have of these temples and castles. So it wasn't a big enough of a tourist attraction because of that, but I thought it was kind of unique because this is a place that was still under construction because it had collapsed, which you get later in Kumamoto as well, because after we dropped off the car, we went back to the hotel, put our stuff away, and then we decided on Macca's for dinner, but we also decided to take a brief stop at Kumamoto Castle. It's not a very popular tourist attraction now because of the earthquakes, and I have a lot of footage of it showing all these kind of diagrams and stuff about how the earthquakes damaged it so much in, I think it was 2011 maybe? Maybe it was 2016. Yeah, I think it was 2016, the earthquake. And it really damaged the castle quite a lot, to the point that they had to reconstruct a complete building of theirs, a complete part of the castle. And so we got to look at it from below, and then above we went all the way around it through a park, and you realize that the whole entire place was closed off to the public. The best you could get was viewings, and we realized that because we wanted to drive there earlier in the day to get to see it during the daytime, but we realized that we had got there at the perfect time of night where it was dusk, but it was still light around, but there was enough, they actually had digital lights they were shooting on the castle to light it up at night. And that was really nice, because you got to see the castle in a really nice lighting, and it was rather beautiful to be there. It's still, disastrous that the earthquakes had hit and had caused this to happen, especially given that they'd already reconstructed the castle from scratch after it had burnt down, and then an earthquake toppled it again. So it's like, yeah, perfection doesn't exist.
It's not half bad.
Yeah.
Especially for a castle that's just crumbled.
There's a lot of stones down here. The stones come off there. Remember, this is a reconstruction made of concrete.
It looks much lighter in the footage. Looks like bloody daytime. Actually, that came from there, didn't it? Before the earthquake, of course.
But it was nice. Then we went to Macca's for tea, caught a tram back to the hotel, and went there for the night. So yeah, it was interesting. Oh boy. All right. So that was Kumamoto and Mount Aso in day 13. Next up, we're going to talk about going back to Tokyo with a long train ride there and the Digital Arts Museum. So that'll be the final video I do, assuming, of course, that it doesn't combine with this one. I don't think it will. So thanks for watching. Next episode is the final episode of the trip. And then the episode after will be an actual, hey, look at all the stuff I bought, because why not? It's cool, yeah. So yeah, see you next time. Thanks for watching. Adios.